One very exciting integration that's coming up is with XRPL. And a lot of people are familiar with Ripple, the company. Many people are familiar also with XRPL, which is the XRP ledger, where the XRP currency resides. And they have a new initiative where they're launching a new EVM chain to bring DeFi to the Ripple ecosystem. They have a new stablecoin, and they're going to be using Axelar to bridge over XRP from the XRP ledger to the XRP ledger sidechain. It's an EVM sidechain, so that people can use it for gas to use the chain. So anyone who's going to be using DeFi on the EVM sidechain of XRPL will have to use Axelar to pay for gas. And we're talking about one of the biggest assets in the space. Again, $200 billion asset in FDV. And to my knowledge, that's the biggest asset that picked the canonical interoperability solution to bridge to another ecosystem, and they picked Axelar.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some massive ongoing developments happening behind the scenes with Axelar, PeerSys, and the EVM sidechain, opening up the door for DeFi opportunities on the XRPL, and then also XRPL developments that are opening up the door for institutions to actually participate in the DeFi ecosystem. So stick around for the entirety of today's video breakdown, because today's video breakdown is going to be jam-packed with valuable research and really good information and insights into the future developments and things that are happening behind the scenes right now as we speak. As always, welcome back to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. If you guys enjoy these video breakdowns, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, as this research does take time to curate, go through, read through, and then create these video breakdowns for you guys. So we're going to start here on this post from Axelar, where they said just a couple of days ago on February 14th, pay attention. And I really hope that you all are. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully you guys are paying attention, because some things massively are happening behind the scenes that I truly don't think people understand from kind of like a retail standpoint, or just everyday average individuals that are going to their 9-to-5 jobs. Just things that are happening that we now for the first time ever have access to. So Sergey, obviously, of course, from the XLR network, went on to say here, traditional real estate is dying. Over 60% of Americans are priced out and call it unrealistic. But President Trump just recently signed an executive order to change all of that. It's now allowing anyone to own $100 million properties for $100. If you guys remember in previous video breakdowns, we talked about how Trump's last term mentioned that they're going to create this level playing field.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
And in previous video breakdowns, we covered in detail how this level playing field is DeFi, decentralized finance, real-world asset tokenization, crypto, blockchain. Even Donald Trump Jr. on stage mentioned this exact same thing at the Ondo Finance Summit on February 6th and said crypto is the future of banking.
How would you kind of stack rank the concept of digital assets?
I think it's probably as critical a topic as anything, because I think it's going to be the future of banking.
And in a previous report that we covered in prior video breakdowns, we talked about in detail how they specifically have used DeFi protocols and mentioned that DeFi puts the power of banking back in the hands of the people. If you have not watched those video breakdowns, if you're new here to CYPRX, go back and watch our yield playlist on the CYPRX YouTube. Scroll down and just try to look for the videos on Axelar, and you will see those videos because they are mind-boggling, and this just goes hand in hand. Axelar also posted this just the other day. Imagine being bearish on tokenization when tokenized assets are estimated to reach $16 trillion by 2030. This is, again, massive. Take into consideration what this individual gentleman from Red Swan at a Hedera conference said just 2 months ago. Take a second here and listen.
To a solution, it's actually a solution to a problem. But you think about the traditional ways of how people buy and sell real estate. It's really for the rich and famous, the well-to-do, because I go back and say that I started my career in real estate with Cushman & Wakefield for 17 years. I was the head of the capital markets division for Texas, and worked with a lot of institutions, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers. And so that was the industry I was in, and those are people I worked with, but never to the average person. right? I'm always making speed dials on 25 people and say, hey, I have this big apartment complex for sale, and they buy it. But never talking to the regular people who can really get involved in the high quality assets. Because, there's different levels of assets that you can buy as an investment. There's a mom and pop shops in the corner. There's duplexes. And then there's also institutional properties like this hotel that we're sitting in. And that's what I sold when I was at Cushman Wakefield, hotels and multifamily properties. And I think it's important, and that's why I got into this business, to really be able to break down real estate so the average person can actually be able to invest in something of quality, something they can trust, and be on the same level as Bill Gates who's investing on real estate. You can just follow what he does because now you have that access. So that's what we do with real estate tokenization.
Right now, we are going to be able to level the playing field, be on the same level as this gentleman mentioned, as Bill Gates, as billionaires. And we can see this all actually materializing, coming in fruition, right? You got Axelar saying, pay attention. You got an individual from Axelar, one of the co-founders, mentioning, hey, look, Trump signing this executive order that's giving access to everyday individuals, $100 million properties for only $100 investment. Okay, this is massive. And I'm not going to go into all the platforms. We've talked about them in the private CYPRX community. You got Lofty, you got Property, you got Block Square, right? You have so many different platforms that allow access to this type of investing through DeFi, through real world asset tokenization. Now is the time to start to pay attention to this stuff, just like the post from Axelar said, to continue on and go down the rabbit hole. So recent developments surrounding stablecoins on the Axelar network have been massively driving momentum and TVL. Eamon here, shout out to Eamon on X, posted the Axelar network has recently witnessed remarkable growth on its total value lock, surpassing $1 billion, driven by the adoption of its interchain token services, or ITS, by the USDX money stablecoin. USDX is a decentralized USD peg stablecoin and offers stability, scalability, and global yield opportunities. In a previous Axelar video breakdown, we talked about Axelar being the interoperable layer for Ondo Bridge and how they're integrated with Ondo's USDY and so on and so forth. Go back and watch that if you haven't. But we're continuing to see stablecoin developments on Axelar that are clear as day, scaling the TVL. Now, what I find interesting is in that previous video breakdown on Axelar, we talked about this post where from January 30th, 2025, this was announced. Axelar developed Interop Labs joined stablecoin standard to advance global stablecoin accessibility and interoperability. This is massive. So I went in detail and created a little bit more of a detailistic perspective on this and hand typed out this report, kind of going over this fundamental piece from my perspective. So here is that link, January 30th, Interop Labs, Axelar developer joins a stablecoin standard. So I want to dive into detail because of the recent announcement, here of the increase in TVL that Eamon posted about on his X profile, where Axelar's total value just surpassed $1 billion. I really want you guys to see how deeply rooted and interconnected Axelar actually is, and having a partnership like this, what it really means for the future of Axelar and, its credibility in this space. So let's jump into this piece. The crypto landscape continues to evolve, with regulators worldwide paying closer attention to stablecoins and their underlying infrastructure. In this environment, long-term success hinges on demonstrating robust compliance practices and dedication to driving innovation responsibly. That is exactly why the new partnership between Stablecoin Standard and Interop Labs, the initial developer of Axelar Network, signifies. Why this partnership even matters. Number one, regulatory-ready innovation. Axelar's collaboration with the Stablecoin Standard highlights a commitment to regulatory compliance. As Stablecoin Standard's policy team engages with global financial authorities, Axelar's decentralized interoperability tech will help ensure stablecoins can be integrated under clear, transparent guidelines. Number two, longevity for investors. Investors, at least I am, increasingly looking for crypto projects that demonstrate resilience and a roadmap for sustainable growth. By partnering with a major industry body focused on compliance, Axelar signals to the market that it's dedicated to being in step with the evolving regulatory environment. And number three, simplified interoperability. Axelar's Interchain Token Service, or ITC, stands out by allowing stablecoins to move as native assets across multiple blockchains with no wrapping, no fragmented liquidity. This frictionless movement is precisely what stablecoin issuers need to expand into new markets and scale. When assets flow freely and transparently, mainstream audiences grow more comfortable entering the ecosystem. And so I continue to go on and talk about this a little bit more in detail, but this partnership was probably one of the biggest in 2025 that I firmly believe is going to continue to drive momentum and just shows credibility on Axelar's behalf. To continue down the rabbit hole, Axelar posted this. This is a pic of David Schwartz standing in front of a little tiny, I don't know, test quiz or whatever. It says XRP at the top and asks the question, which network will provide the interoperability bridge between the XRP ledger mainnet and the XRPL EVM sidechain, as well as 55 plus other blockchains? And it has Aptos as an answer, Axelar network as an answer, Solana and Soy as an answer. Take a second and listen to the co-founder of Axelar answer that question for you.
Some of the biggest protocols in the space. Uniswap is using Axelar for cross-chain governance on a couple of chains. We had an integration with Lido, where they have their asset stake ETH, which is the biggest asset in DeFi, $30 billion asset, and they wanted to bridge it to the BNB chain and to the Cosmos ecosystem. And they were utilizing a solution that was secured by Axelar under the hood for both. One very exciting integration that's coming up is with XRPL. And a lot of people are familiar with Ripple, the company. Many people are familiar also with XRPL, which is the XRP ledger, where the XRP currency resides. And they have a new initiative where they're launching a new EVM chain to bring DeFi to the Ripple ecosystem. They have a new stablecoin, and they're going to be using Axelar to bridge over XRP from the XRP ledger to the XRP ledger sidechain. It's an EVM sidechain, so that people can use it for gas to use the chain. So anyone who's going to be using DeFi on the EVM sidechain of XRPL will have to use Axelar to pay for gas. And we're talking about one of the biggest assets in the space. Again, $200 billion asset in SDV. And to my knowledge, that's the biggest asset that picked the canonical interoperability solution to bridge to another ecosystem, and they picked Axelar.
Okay, do you all understand how huge it is what he just said? Two key takeaways from that is he said that Ripple is in an attempt right now to bring DeFi to the Ripple ecosystem. Okay, that is massive one and within itself. And this XRPL EVM sidechain and these capabilities will unlock those opportunities. Then he talked about anyone using this EVM sidechain will need Axelar for gas. That is a massive statement, and in my personal opinion, is one of the solidifying reasons as to why we will see massive demand for Axelar in the future, not financial advice. I'm going to continue to show you guys how institutions are coming, how institutions are 110% interested in DeFi via some developments that are happening right now behind the scenes that no mainstream influencers are talking about, right? We're starting now for the first time ever to see mainstream influencers and big influencers pick up on these DeFi developments, but still nobody is watching these tiny little video clips. This video was posted 1 month ago and only has 940 views. We're bringing that to your attention because here at CYPRX, we pay attention to detail, and we pay attention to all the stuff that every other influencer doesn't pay attention to because they're always reading mainstream articles and fundamentals, right? So let's continue. We have here Vet. Shout out to Vet on X. If you guys don't follow this individual, it's constantly posting out good, valuable information. So go give them a follow. I'm always an advocate of sharing other good influencers and valid people on the internet that are posting good information for you guys to go out there and follow them. They posted this the other day on February 17th. XRP ledger interoperability just started. The Axelar bridge integration is finally completed. The EVM sidechain DevNet is the first network to connect. EVM sidechain mainnet launch coming closer. So I'm just going to play this video clip from Peersys real fast so you guys can hear what just took place.
Today, we're excited to share our latest update on XRPL programmability and the XRPL EVM. A significant milestone for XRPL interoperability. A couple of months ago, we announced plans to move the native XRP bridge from XLS38D to Axelar. Axelar emerged as the optimal choice for secure and decentralized interoperability. This is the main bottleneck for the launch of the much anticipated XRPL EVM. After several months of work, we can announce that the first phase of integration into the DevNet environment has been successfully completed, allowing for the migration of native XRP, XRPL IOUs, Ethereum ERC20 tokens and Cosmos tokens end-to-end into this environment. With this integration, it will soon be possible to test the movement of tokens and messages for users and dApps of the XRPL ecosystem. This achievement marks a significant milestone. With the end-to-end DevNet bridging successfully tested, we're excited to advance on the development to prepare for the testnet phase, bringing us one step closer to the mainnet launch. Join our growing community.
Right, so that was a really cool announcement from this year in 2025, and this is just from the other day, February 17th, 2025. You guys can take it upon yourselves to go follow Peersys and read this thread, which I suggest that you guys do so. It talks about the importance as it serves as a preparation for an identical launch of the mainnet. And it just goes over a little bit of a thread. I will save time in today's video breakdown. I won't cover this, but it's just a really good thread to go and read to educate yourself on what is actually happening behind the scenes. Now, before we get into the DeFi aspect of things, I want you guys to listen to some institutional perspectives on stage from a video breakdown just a couple of months ago, only has 159 views. Just listen to them talk about how institutions are coming to crypto, what is in, DeFi for institutions and why they should get in. And then how they mention on stage, these are all institutional representatives, say that DeFi is now ready for institutions. I'm going to play these videos back to back. This is, again, showing you guys that most retail participants are not watching these videos. These are all some of the research video breakdowns that we share in the private CYPRX Discord. You guys can see over here to the right-hand side, I have hundreds of these panel discussions that are all updated from just a couple of weeks, some even days ago, some months ago, that have hardly any views that we share with the private community members, so that way they stay engaged, they stay informed from an institutional perspective. So I'm going to play 4 video clips back to back. Just listen to what they say. I'm going to put it on 1.25 speed so we can get through these. But this is just going to set the tone for the rest of today's video breakdown to show you guys that institutions are 110% interested in DeFi. So as a retail participant, don't you think that if institutions are saying on stage that they're coming to crypto, they're coming to DeFi, don't you think that should, motivate you to, at least at a minimum, want to get educated on earning yield on your digital assets, taking a mentorship program that allows you to educate yourself? You don't need to go out there and deploy your digital assets, but at least having the power of knowledge behind you in your decision-making in the future moving forward as we progress in this digital environment, right? Instead of having this idea that you're going to be successful, selling your XRP, your valuable digital assets for fiat, learn how to generate yield with your digital assets and turn them from a stagnant asset into a productive asset. Take a second here and listen to these representatives.
Lose no more time. You all know these headlines from January. Bitcoin ETFs. Now, institutional players are able more easily to invest into crypto assets. But is that all? We think it's not. It's just the beginning. So, if you will, the crypto world found ways to get into the world of the institutional players, but we think similarly the institutional players now will move closer to the world of the crypto assets. And that's what we want to talk about. So we want to dive a bit deeper into this new world of blockchains and crypto assets and research what's actually in it for institutional players. But before we do that, I want to introduce DeFi institutions, just to give you an impression what we're talking about. That's, to me, DeFi. Now we might ask ourselves questions. So what's in it for us as institutions? How can we interact with this world? Should we care at all? And I argue, yes, you should. And we think you can interact on 4 interesting levels. Level 1 is analyze it, look at it, learn and adopt. Level 1 is what Project Guardian of MAS in Singapore is actually doing. They look at each of these DeFi projects and analyze what's in it.
I want to pause it right here. If you look in, we can zoom in to the slideshow in the back. Keep in mind, they're at an event that is jam-packed with institutional investors, large regulators, and businesses alike. And look at the screen at the back. It says, how can institutional players benefit from DeFi? Number 2 and 3 says, use DeFi services for your own business and examine regulatory boundaries. Number 3 says, embrace DeFi services and give your clients access to DeFi services. This is monumental. And then it says, extend and augment DeFi with your own assets, stablecoin, tokenized deposits, digital securities, and tokenized real-world assets. You guys remember at the beginning of this video breakdown, I talked about real estate being tokenized, Axelar saying paying attention, right? You put 2 and 2 together. They're literally telling you all this stuff on stage. But again, nobody's paying attention to this information. 159 views on this particular video breakdown. Let's continue to listen.
Decentralized finance, institutional-grade decentralized finance. There might also be, despite the fact that it was suffering the last couple of months and years for different reasons, including regulatory reasons, just natural development of technology and getting more mature. Same thing could be for decentralized finance. The efficiency, empowerment, financial inclusion, different topics that really drive intrinsic value of that. But, it's a fact. This is only true, and that's the disclaimer, if it's done right. And I think that decentralized finance has been a lot of learning, development, and it's now the time when decentralized finance is ready for institutions to be utilized.
DeFi is ready for financial institutions to be utilized, right? That is a massive statement considering some of the things that, again, I'm going to show you all in today's video breakdown. If you guys have enjoyed this so far, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button and subscribe. So back to Vet's X post, he says, new XLS90 permission domains for multi-purpose tokens, introducing permission domains to the new XRPL token standard, goes into the bucket of compliance first approach to allow institutions to interact on the XRPL in a compliant manner. We've already covered how Axelar will be the interoperable bridge for the EVM sidechain on the XRPL, and how individual users that are, operating on DeFi, on the EVM sidechain, on the XRPL will need Axelar to pay for gas. I'm showing you guys right now how institutions are coming. So check this out. Here is that post that Vet got his information from. You guys can thoroughly read through that if you want. It is attached to his X post. I thoroughly did, and this is what I gathered from it. So I elaborated on this because of an event that I saw take place from Ripple, hosted by XRPL Commons. You can see right here, this is, Eric from Ripple, and this is Odelia from Ripple, right? And they were talking about institutional grade DeFi. So I put in this post, I said, I'd like to elaborate on this post from Vet so that people understand the depth of liquidity that is coming to the XRPL. It just takes time and clarity. The XLS90 introduces a way for issuers to require valid credentials before anyone can hold or move their multiple purpose tokens on the XRPL. By setting a permission domain, the issuer controls who is allowed to hold or receive the tokens, which helps institutions meet regulatory requirements and ensure that only authorized holders can interact with the asset. We know Ripple employees have attended recent events pushing for institutional DeFi, and we know institutions are interested in DeFi. Because XLS90 introduces a way to attach permission access to tokens, institutions can enforce compliance requirements at the blockchain level. For example, they can ensure that only holders with verified credentials are meeting KYC AML standards and can hold or trade tokens. This balances DeFi's benefits of open decentralized finance with the regulatory needs of large institutions, letting them participate in on-chain activities without sacrificing compliance or security. And here is that, Ripple event. Look at the back of the screen. If you zoom in, it says they're talking about XRP Ledger, key characteristics of DeFi, where users can access DeFi. And this is an event that recently took place. You can see here, this was posted just 2 weeks ago on Adelia Tortman's LinkedIn profile. Key topics were institutional DeFi, fundamentals and architecture, practice application and real-world use cases, and implementation strategy. That is a massive key vocabulary word right there. Implementation strategies and operational considerations. That one key vocabulary word right there shows that they are attempting to develop implementation strategies. Why institutional DeFi matters. Institutional DeFi has the power to transfer the benefits of DeFi into the traditional financial marketplace, unlocking cost efficiencies and creating new opportunities for innovative businesses and growth, right? And here is that post from Odelia Tortman right there, where you can see, them laughing, smiling, having a great old time talking about this. So I hope that today's video breakdown showed you guys why I personally think Axelar is going to be massive in the near future, and shows you all that right now is the time for you guys to start to get educated on DeFi, learning how to turn your idle digital assets into productive digital assets. Even if you don't go out there and expose your capital, at least having the knowledge and the awareness that this even exists is powerful. Many blessings to you guys. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and invest in XLR or XRP. What I am asking that you guys do is you go out there and you further your education. You can do that by simply finding resources on your own behalf, surfing the internet and the web countless hours at a time to go and find all this information, or you can fast track that whole entire process. You can tap in with us here at CYPRX. You can head over to CYPRXtrading.com. We have the Wealth 28 Club for you guys to tap into, or we have the private Discord where all of this research and information is accessible. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.